What's your favorite planet? Nope. I was like, there, you can't do this.
Who is that?
I don't know. Hello?
Hi, John. It's Maria from B&H.
Hey, what's going on?
I heard you're home just like the rest of us, and I figured I'd call you up and ask you 21 questions.
Oh, let's do it. Hold on, let me get my headset.
Okay.
All right, guys, hold on. Dad's gotta go take a phone call for work. Wait. There you go, guys. All right, Maria, what's cooking?
So, what are you doing?
I'm living the dream here. I am staying safe, self-quarantining at home, and trying to stay sane and keep 3 kids relatively educated.
Can you tell me, for some of the people who may not know, what do you do for a living?
So I used to be a journalist. That's what I tell people. That's what I tell my parents. But my real job now is I make video on YouTube, which still seems like a very weird thing to say, even in 2020.
So how are you holding up with this change to your workflow during this quarantine?
It's been weird. You know, I went from filming with 2 editors and a producer to, you know, filming on a Sony camera and a switch pod at home. But it's been tough. You know, I've kind of been struggling with my tough stuff I talk about is consumer electronics. Like, is that important during this time? And I kind of settled on it's a distraction for people. You know, there's so much stuff on the news. Maybe sometimes it's good to have things that are a little less heavy, especially for, I think, people right now.
Sure. So, I mean, you mentioned journalism, so what got you into creating videos?
So I started making videos back in 2010. And this is back when YouTube, or this is back in 2007 rather. This is when YouTube was like cat videos and guys getting hit in the business. I always loved tech. I used to go walk around Best Buy like just to relax. And I started making videos just as a hobby. I had gotten a new computer at the time and I wanted to learn how to use it. And I was looking around for tutorials and how to learn how to do it. Hi, buddy. But there weren't any, so I figured I was gonna make some myself. And so I bought a camera and I just tried to make videos. And because nobody else was doing it at the time, it grew relatively quickly. And it was like 99% just dumb luck. I didn't have like a giant foresight into what was gonna happen with the world. At the time, I was like 24 and I was a liberal arts major in college. I was like literally prepared for nothing in the world. And I figured, hey, I'm gonna start a business. So I went and created a website called Tech Buffalo. Hi, big guy. I went back to business school, got an MBA, and sort of learned how to run a business.
Cool.
I sold the Techno Buffalo part about a year ago, and now I just make videos for a living.
Cool. And then, so you kind of mentioned when you first bought that camera. What was your first camera?
Oh man, I bought it from Costco. It was a mini DV camera. In my early videos, you can still hear like the tape winding in the background.
Can we still find those videos?
Those are still on the channel. My very first video was Santa Rosa Mac Pro unboxing. It is live. I had to like clean my apartment and set it up. Like the Nintendo Wii had just come out at the time and I had one. It was hard to find and I remember setting it up like right in the corner, you know, so people could see that I had it. I thought it would give me a little more cred.
So some time has passed. So what's your go-to camera and lens now?
So now we film with 2 cameras. We film with the Blackmagic, the new Ursa Mini 2, and then we also use a Blackmagic Pocket 6K.
Cool.
Which, by the way, not like an ad or sponsor thing. We bought both of them actually from B&H, legitimately, from B&H.
So what was the video that kind of helped you guys get noticed?
You know, because there weren't that many people doing it at the time, it was just, there wasn't anything else out there. So when people searched for anything technology related, sort of I was the channel that popped up. I mean, so really by just dumb luck, by being the only one out there doing it was sort of what initially got us noticed.
And then, so you mentioned you have a team. Have you always had a team? Do you edit everything yourself?
No, so I certainly have not always had a team. You know, the first 1,000 videos I edited myself in iMovie, just sort of learning how to edit, which is why the editing is really bad on it. And sort of part of doing what I was doing, I realized early on that I needed to know what my strengths were, but also be very aware of my weaknesses. And editing was just not something that I was good at. So I brought on some folks to sort of help me with what was my shortcomings, and I've tried to learn and get better, but for folks who edit professionally, I'm not that good. I wish I was, and I've tried to sort of fix that in myself, but people who can do that are like magicians to me.
Yeah. And then, so you have now over 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is a huge accomplishment. What's your secret?
Thank you. Man, persistence. I made a lot of mistakes, so we've got about 1.6 million subscribers on YouTube, and I think that number should be a lot higher. When I was running Techno Buffalo and the website and making videos, I made a lot of mistakes. I was doing too many things. I was trying to learn about a CMS for a website and learn about SEO for websites, but also trying to make videos. And so I was doing so much, I wasn't doing anything well. And our videos kind of plateaued. And so I sort of had to adapt. So the secret to get to 1.5 million was persistence. But I think we should be a lot higher. And I sort of learned from those mistakes. And since I sold Techno Buffalo, it's been a full focus on the quality of the content again. And that sort of reignited a love for video. And for anybody out there who's looking to get started now, don't try to imitate anyone or anybody else's style. Don't copy someone that you like online. Because why would somebody watch you if they can just watch the original?
Right.
Be the best version of yourself, whatever that might be, and let the cards kind of fall where they may.
So, I mean, the bulk of your stuff is tech reviewing and gear reviewing.
Yes.
Is there anything, any new products and stuff you're trying to get into that you don't normally do?
Yeah, so I love cars, tech, and sports. So we do branch out into cars just out of like a personal love for automotive stuff. So we'll do a lot of stuff on the EV side. I drive an EV. I've been driving electric for 7 years now. So we'll cover a lot of Tesla and the Audi and sort of the other electric EVs out there. I would love to get more into gaming, but that's been such a hard nut to crack. I'm not like a hardcore gamer, but I love to play when I can. So that's been tricky. I want to get into some like custom PC builds and that kind of stuff, but those are very different demographics than like cell phones, laptops, and tablets, surprisingly.
Right. Yeah. So then, what's your favorite part of your work?
I mean, I'm older. I'm in my late 30s. I worked, I guess, quote, real jobs, right? I was an assistant to an entire ad agency. I was the lowest person there. So I know what a privilege this is. And I know what a blessing it is to do this job. I wake up every day with a smile on my face, and even a bad day is still better than some of my best days at working for a real job. So the best part of my job is a privilege that I still get to do this.
That's great.
And that some people care about what I have to say. I will never, ever, ever take it for granted.
That's great. And so since you're stuck at home, have you been filming anything at all?
Yeah. So it's gone back to the way things were when I first started, right? Just a camera and me. So I had been an Apple user for years, and I switched to Android 2 months ago. So I was filming my experience switching to Android and kind of what that's been like. We have some new phones that are coming out. I've been trying to film and then send some footage over to editors, and it's been just, the workflow is just all kinds of wonky working from home. Plus, I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 10-month-old downstairs. So try to shoot around them and sort of maybe have them make appearances sometimes has been tricky, to say the least.
Sure. And then you're shooting in your own little studio?
Yeah, honestly, it's like a loft outside my kids' room. So I'm here right now. And
okay.
You can see there's all of our gear. We got a TV I sometimes used to watch sports. So inside of there is where we kind of put the cameras and stuff. All of our batteries and some phones that I'm testing are over there. Monitors and things here. Then mostly I'll just kind of sit on this couch. I made this a studio. But like when my daughter's sleeping, she's right outside of her room. So it's a studio when it can be, I think is the best bet. But it's still a home studio and a home first and foremost. Can
you kind of give some tips on how to make some content while you're stuck at home?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on that I think is relatable, right? So I'm at home. You're at home. Everybody's at home. So it's a relatable story, right? I think you go back 2 months ago, and maybe the tolerance for kind of home vloggy tech videos for established channels that never did it that way was probably very low, right? Mm-hmm. But now, like, people are expecting that. So you kind of get a new, fresh approach to content. So you can sort of reevaluate how you do things. I mean, I don't generally wear a hat on camera, but, I got like quarantine hair, probably like everybody else. So we have to sort of change the aesthetic from personal aesthetic to how we shoot and try to get the message across and sort of give people content to help distract them from kind of what's going on in the world, even just for a few minutes.
That's good. And so let's switch it up a little bit. So what do you do for fun aside from video creating?
I'm a dad, and so that is my number one. I'm a dad first before anything else. So I'm with my kids. Before all of this happened, I was coaching my son's little league team. Hey, buddy, you can come say hi if you want. Was Daddy? Who's the coach? Who was the coach on your little league team? Who?
Daddy.
That's right. So I was coaching his little league team. I'm talking one of Daddy's friends. It's okay, buddy. You're right. I coach my other son's baseball team. We're out riding bikes. I'm trying to teach my oldest how to ride a two-wheeler. So it's very like dad-centric stuff. My wife and I love to. How about this? We loved to travel. We don't go anywhere right now. So that's mostly my time is sort of embracing. Here you go, buddy. Want to say hi?
Hi.
Hello.
What are you off to? Where are you going?
Downstairs.
Downstairs. All right. Bye, buddy. What? I'll be down soon, love. So that's my day. That's my day every day.
That's awesome. And so a lot of us, we love to nerd out on certain things. What's your favorite product to take a deep dive into?
Man, so my favorite product is a product that I don't think anybody should buy right now, but it's a product that represents a very clear paradigm shift for the future. It's actually the phone that I'm on right now. It's the Galaxy Fold, and I've got one here. It's a phone that sort of folds out into, I don't want to show your phone number, but that folds out into a tablet. It is amazing, it's fragile, it's expensive, and it's very clearly a first generation device. But what it represents for how devices are going to change and form factors are going to change as a gear nerd like myself has been absolutely amazing and has spoiled me on pretty much every other phone out there.
That's cool. And then what's the most challenging video you've created?
Man, so there's been a lot. Sometimes we'll have crazy ideas and no way to execute them. Mm-hmm. We did a video about 4 months ago. That was the biggest production we ever did. And we sort of started with the question of, what if Apple didn't exist? So what if at different points in Apple's history they had gone bankrupt? So back in the 80s and the 90s when they were sort of on the precipice. And we did alternate histories throughout that. And we rented studio space, gear, and sort of built sets that kind of made a mini movie.
I was going to say, it's basically a movie.
It was basically a movie. And that was something that we really wanted to do for a long time. But to get budget and sort of make that version that we all had in our heads was tricky.
Right. And so, I mean, video seems to be a big part of your life. What would you be if you weren't creating videos?
Man, video is all my life. I don't know what I would be. I always thought that I was going to be a lawyer. The only skill I've ever had in life is I can talk. There's nothing else I've been good at. So actually, before I started making video, I worked in a law firm and I hated it. I don't know what I would be doing, but I can tell you I'd be unhappy doing it.
And what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I'd ever received is, if it's worth it, work for it. And that's very true with video. It's like any job. You can upload a video that you are really proud of and you spent a lot of time for, and then it'll get, barely any views. Then you can upload a video that's a generic something and it'll blow up and get 1 million, 2 million views. And that's frustrating. There's no rhyme or reason to how it happens or when, and it's discouraging. But sticking with it and dealing with the negative comments that sometimes come is a really hard part of kind of any creator's life, and something that even though I've been doing it so long, I still wish I had a thicker skin.
And then, so aside from, I guess, your phone that you so love, what's your favorite piece of gear?
Man, I love our probably the Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro 2. It's been absolutely amazing. We wanted a sort of a higher quality camera, but I didn't want to spend $40,000-$50,000 for like an Alexa or something.
So what's one thing that makes your job easier?
Man, working with people more talented than me. Honestly, we're working with people smarter and that can plan videos better. I have a broad idea of things, but I'm not very good at the execution necessarily of them. So people who can take these ideas and put out a plan and a vision that ends up being much better than what I had in my head is amazingly helpful and awesome to see.
That's awesome. And now, so this is going to be the hardest question I ask you. If there were to be a movie about yourself, who would play you?
Who would play me? I don't know. Who's got a grisly old look? Man, that is a good question. I'll go. Can I go? I'm gonna go John Krasinski.
Nice. That's
much
a good,
taller.
Yeah.
Much taller than me, but he's got kind of that nerdy, back days at the office look, and he can grow an awesome beard.
And then last question: who should we interview next?
Ooh, good question. Next, I'm gonna throw this over to. How about one of the guys who just spun off his own YouTube channel, has been with one of the biggest brands, I think is one of the most trusted voices in consumer electronics right now, especially on the Apple side. Mr. Rene Ritchie would be a guy that I would love to talk to. He's also, coincidentally, one of the nicest people in the world.
All right, so that's it. Thanks so much for taking my call. Stay safe out there.
High five, Maria.
Awesome. Virtual high five.
Virtual high five.
Alrighty.